So if you haven't been hiding under a rock, you know that Hughley and Monique have been going back and forth at each other online. And yesterday, Monique and her husband took to Instagram to respond to Hughley, who lashed out at her over the interview that she did on Club Shay Shay this past week. But just to catch you up to speed, Monique sat down for a 3-hour long conversation on Shannon Sharp's podcast, which was released on this past Wednesday, February 7th. And during part of this interview, Monique touched on her falling out with DL back in 2022 over a contract dispute at a Detroit event. She said they already hadn't been cool before this incident, claiming he had been talking bad about her for years. And there were a host of other things that came up in this conversation she had with Shannon Sharp. But DL Hughley responded to her, and then last night, Monique and her husband responded back to him. Then DL Hughley turned around and responded back to her. And I'm not going to play all of it. I'll just play a little clip of both. But then y'all, Judge Mathis jumped in the chat. He made a post and he basically said that the comedians are basically humiliating or embarrassing themselves and our community. So take a quick listen, you guys.
Be clear who I went after so that there's no confusion here. When I was on stage, when I'm on stage and we are performers, we are performing to the audience in front of us. When I was on that stage and I said it must be hard to perform on X,
but differently.
Okay, on a coward. That had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughley. That insult was directed straight to you, DL. That had nothing to do with your wife. That was straight to you. So it felt like you were trying to pass it off as if I was going after your wife. When it comes to your daughter, to the baby that you did a post about, you did an interview about, I didn't do that interview. I simply reposted what you said. So when you say, Monique, you went after my daughter, that's untrue, DL. I posted what you said.
Now, I did cut it short because I'm sure you probably already seen it. And if you haven't, you can head on over to Monique's Instagram. It is posted there. But DL Hughley responded and said, let me make this very clear. I started none of this, but you got me effed all the way up if you think I'm going to stay silent and not call out a liar. I see what y'all did to Steve and all them when nobody tried to defend themselves. It's been 2 years since that woman lied on me and disrespected my family. When the internet came for her ASS after what she said about my daughter, she stopped all the BS and that was it. I've been minding my own business. Now here we go again. He then went on to say, just because someone lies, manipulates, and gaslights you in a calm voice with terms of endearment doesn't make it true. You had an issue with me when it came to that contract, but before you ever spoke a word to me, you went on stage at a concert in front of a full audience and attacked my wife. But family is sacred. Gaslighting. He says, every time you speak my name, I'm coming back at you. You don't get to be the aggressor and the victim with me. You speak my name or my family's name, and I'm going to be on your ASS.
All right, I'm taking time to respond to Monique again. She made another greasy-ass video with her daddy. We kind of relitigating some of the stuff she said on Club Shay Shay, where she talked about how she was on the show and somebody, they played a game, Would You Rather? And I guess she felt like they insulted her husband's sexuality, which is interesting because she can always talk shit about everybody else's sexuality. But I guess her husband's sacrosanct. He's off limits. But a hit dog will bark unless his mouth is full. But she talked about, well, she didn't actually call her lawyer. Who the fuck would be afraid of your lawyer? Your lawyer, you mean the lawyer that did your contract? That lawyer, the lawyer from the firm of Negro from Ghetto, Got Him and Gone, that lawyer? Who the fuck afraid of him? He couldn't get your name right on the ticket. He gonna get it right on a legal document. It didn't happen because we decided it shouldn't happen. You didn't need to, because we respect people. We don't have to do things for clicks. They took it off because you asked me to. Because I respected you at the time. You also talked about how I disrespect you on so many platforms. But you have this impeccable memory where you can tell to the degree, well, who did what to you and why and what happened, where you were. But you can't pull up one time on any platform that I said anything about you at all, because you know you're lying. You got that piece of paper and that big ass memory, but you can't pull one up. My biggest mistake is saying yes to you. I should have said no when you couldn't come on my radio show. I should have said no that I wasn't playing those dates with you. As a matter of fact, almost anybody who says yes to you at some point is in this milieu with you. Almost anybody. So I would suggest anybody out there, you can say yes to drugs, but say no to Monique. You talked about how my children, families are uplifted. They weren't when you were running across Vegas. The stage in Detroit. They weren't when you talking shit on social media. When you got your ass whipped and your tickets dropped, then they became off limits. But let's do this. Let's decide that you will treat my children like you treat yours, like you don't know them, invisible, like you have no relationship with them, like you're estranged. Like you're unfamiliar, like you don't know them. You also intimated that I was coward. You know what I'd never do? I would never let my woman take care of me. I would never let my woman get evicted from her apartment. I would never let my woman has to ask another man for money. I'd never do that. Can your old man say the same? He loves you. Of course, he got to say that. You claim him on your taxes. He's a dependent. He's sitting there with you right now. And everything. Because it ain't like he does anything else. But you never address the salient point. I said that if you spent as much time writing your Netflix special as you did arguing about getting it, it wouldn't have been trash. It was. I didn't say it. I defy anybody out there. Stop listening to me. Watch it. Read the reviews. Read the reviews. You begged for something. You made valid points that women are underpaid, that they're not valued. That's absolutely right. So you would think that when you got a chance to do something that you had argued for, you'd be up for the challenge, but you shit the bed because you never are ready for it, because all you ever do is complain about what you don't have. You're never ready for the moment because you're always living in the past. I said it. If you spend half of your time doing as opposed to talking about who didn't do for you and what they did for you, you'd be a lot further along. You wouldn't be evicted. You wouldn't be working for your man. You wouldn't be asking other comics for money. So you got all the ingredients. Take that piece of paper that you're running down the list with, and that pen that you got, and that daddy sitting next to you, and do what you can't do what you never do. Write a fucking joke. All right, I'm taking time to respond to Monique again. She made another greasy ass video with her daddy. We kind of relitigating some of.
So now we've heard DL's response back to Monique, but today Judge Mathis got involved. He says you can't be big and small at the same time. Our comedy legends must stop embarrassing ourselves and our community with public personal attacks. He said rise above.
I want to appeal to our comedians to stop going after each other in public like this. You're embarrassing yourselves. You're embarrassing our community. I know many times you have to defend yourself about what's being said, but why can't we do it directly? And I just want you to know, I believe that we're being laughed at all the major studios and by their executives, seeing us in public, black folks going at each other. You don't see this among other communities. And that's why I say you're hurting yourselves and you're hurting our community and you're hurting the young people who are looking and want to learn and need to learn how to resolve disputes in a better way. I'm no saint. I'm guilty of having temper issues from time to time on my show. That's entertainment. You guys say what you want as part of your entertainment, but don't go out your way and personally attack each other, particularly your families. I appeal to you for that. Let's not turn on each other. Let's turn toward each other.
Now, some people agreed with him and some didn't, but someone commented, totally agree, Judge Mathis. I'm so happy that a celebrity with authority made this statement. It is truly embarrassing to our people as a whole, but most don't see it that way. They think it's just amusing. And someone else chimed in and said, Judge, respectfully, you didn't have a private conversation with Wendy Williams. I support anyone who speaks out to defend themselves, which includes you too. And someone else just said, I'm reading some of these comments. I feel like you're missing the message. debating situations and moments between him and others. He's got a point. A lot of us turn on each other instead of talking to each other. Go to therapy with each other. Meanness and nastiness only stems from being hurt or fearful of something. So drop down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about what DL Hughley had to say back to Monique. And do you think that she'll respond? And how do you feel about what Judge Mathis had to say? I thank you guys for watching and listening, and I will talk to you in the next video.